Alrighty, welcome to step 7, the roof. Now, what we need here is our overhangs for a plan above. So let me bring on that sheet so you can see that. So the sheet I'm going to show you is without the dimensioning, so we can talk about a little more, robustly, correctly, simply, and or not at all, because I doesn't look like I have that sheet with me. That's okay. We'll talk about it. All right. So you've got corners of each part of these roofs. This is all gable, so we need to know where the ridge is. The ridge is the part that goes right down the middle on there, and so we want to get that all set up here. All right. So we'll start with the main roof, which is on this side of the house. You have a corner way back here, way back, and one up at the front. And we want to bring those down first. And those are the start points. So we only need short lines near the ceiling point for the corners. What we will then need is where the ridge comes out to the edge, and that creates the gable or the peak of the roof. So here goes everything. Let's start here on the left side. Get our handy dandy straight edge lined up again. And find the corner of the roof. It's on that heavier line. Teacher can help you here just a little bit as we get that lined up. And I'm just going to right about where that top wall, just line there. So when we go far away, this looks like it sticks out a lot more. That forced perspective is kind of an interesting thing. So now the next corner, again, the corner right here where that overhang is. And that's going to be in this area right here. Okay, so we know where that is. And that is really all we need for this main roof that goes across by the house. So I'm going to bring down the gable next, the peak of the roof, the ridge of the roof, the center of the roof, the midpoint, all those things. And that's going to be right in here. All right, now what we got to do is, if this is where the middle of this roof is, then from here it's going to extend up and connect there, and from here it's going to extend up and connect here. We really have to make sure that this height is greater than what the roof of the garage is. So now we're going to do the same thing we just did, 3 lines for the pop-out window and for the garage. Okay, exactly the same thing we just did on the side. Overhang, overhang, center, or ridge line. Okay, so back to the garage side, line that one up, and you'll start seeing how things get closer and further away depending on the side we're on. So we'll go here, and while I'm just coming across, I'll do the middle, so I'm not moving too much. You'll notice that if you go back and forth over paper too many times, it starts to get smudgy. No one likes a smudgy paper. Next overhang here, corner of the roof. Now I do have an oak corner back here I'm going to need inside where the porch is, so I have to grab that one as well. Kind of an important one at this point. Again, lots of lines. Please, 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 please try and keep track of your lines. It does get crazy. That's that one. Now the overhangs for the roof, and again, they look a little weird, so hang tight. This is the overhang on the outside. I still need that inside as well, so I'm going to have to make sure that one's there, because I have to know where to pull slopes from. So get that lined up. And there, and then go slide over to this one. I'm doing the 2 outsides on this. I can bring the middle in. It's not going to make a difference. Bring the middle here, and I make those a little higher. Just to try and keep some sense and wonder going in the world. I made it a little crooked. Go here. So this is the front edge. edge. All right, so there's all my lines. And that's to start now on the side with the garage. And then I have to start with my ridge lines. So I'm going to put ridge lines in first. I'm going to start with the garage one. I really don't know. I didn't give you information on how high these roofs are, what their pitch is. Typically it's like a slope, so rise over run, and how that kind of plays out. So if we were to do like we did here with this first corner wall, we can pick that height that we want for that to be. It's pretty arbitrary. Really, you're kind of selecting that. So let's take along here, and these all look a little different, but I think if we measure for you guys at first, it'll make things a little easier. So I'm going to put the ruler down on the paper here and line it up with the paper, not the table, which is kind of a little off, but that's okay. Everything's okay. Now, if I go from where the wall is, and I actually pick up off, well, can't do that. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out how to make sure we get the same spot here, because you're all just a little different. We did our vertical line here before with our house and got up to 2 1/4, which is what made us our height. Let's put our ruler there on the corner of the garage, and let's go up. Let's go up from the bottom of the garage, go all the way up that line, make a mark at 4 inches. So from this point to this point, actually it's from the bottom of the corner of the garage all the way up to here, that's 4 inches. Now, just to kind of give you an idea, when you guys get a little older, your hand is going to be about 4 inches wide. Okay? It's in different for each of you a little bit, but it's about 4 inches. So you can kind of eyeball that. So there's about 4 inches right there. We'll call that what we want. Now, if I bring my line, and this is what we then start to play with. We're going to take your vanishing point. We're going to be the one on the left. And it's going to go through that point. You're going to have a really, really, really high ridge. So let me draw that in. So we're going to go from the corner. It's going to come forward. So if we connect these two, that's how high that roof is. That may seem a little large. Feels a little off. So we're going to now come back to your measuring. And I know you love using your ruler so much. We're going to make a series of marks along here. We have one at 4, make one at 3 1/2, and one at 3. Okay, so now you have 3 marks here, and a thin line going through here. Go back to the vanishing point on the left, and we're going to do some studies. So I'm going to take one right here through the 3 1/2. Just bring that line through, nice and light. And then one at 3. And again, keep everything lined up nice and good. Boom. All right, so now we can look at where those roof lines will be. So 4, way up here, 3 1/2, 3 is about here. I'm liking the 3 where that's at, because then I can go higher on the main roof, which it should be because it's bigger than the garage. So we're going to go to this point here once you got that down. So again, 4, 3 1/2, 3, based off of this corner and projected. Okay. So far, so good. Woohoo! Yay. Now, can we go in between 3 and 3 1/2 and say go 3 1/4? Absolutely. You can go right here in the middle there. That would be fine, but I think we'll just go at 3 for this, because the garage roof doesn't need to be super thick. Next, we have to decide how low this roof is going to go below the roof here. So we have on our drawing, our original line that we went through here for actually it's the horizon line. So that horizon line still going through there. I'm actually going to use that. So here's where my overhang is. Oh, I tore my paper. Yay. And here's the horizon line, and then make a mark right there. Okay, and the same over on this side. So I'm going to use the horizon line for the depth of my roof. That means how much it overhangs and goes down. Okay, so we find those. So your horizon line is there. Make a mark where that overhang is. And we're going to take from that point up to the point that marked with the 3-inch. And this is going to be where that gable comes in. Okay, so nice line there. Flip that around and go all the way to the other side at the same marked point on the horizon. Okay, so now we're starting to create this area. Now, what's going to happen is this area here, we're going to take that out eventually. Okay, so eventually it'll go out. So we can line that line. Now, if I do the same thing over here on the left side of the house, that one I want to go a little bit higher. So this roof on the garage side, that's going to do the vanishing point on the left. So the right side garage goes to the left vanishing point. The house is going to go to the right. And this is where I got myself into some trouble because I need a much longer line. So let me see what I've got that's longer. Okay, so we're going to have to extend my line here just a little bit. So I'm going to just draw my table and that'll be just fine. Now, if I make that too steep, it's going to look kind of weird. So let me give you exact numbers here that we can kind of look at. So I want that to go about there. Okay, so if you will now, we have this one here that we've marked out. This one's going to be a little trickier to mark. So if you line your ruler up with that line, put the 0 on the wall, and mark that at 1 inch above the roof line. So line those up, measure up 1 inch right here, 1 inch. Okay, then that's going to project all the way back to the vanishing point that is on the right. And it's going to go until it runs into this roof. Boom, crash, bang. So roof, okay? Now what we've got here is we need to bring where this inside corner, which came down here, that now has to go up and meet right here. So there's a little angle that's going to come in here and connect those. It's actually going to move, in this case, back because of the angle we're at. So if you kind of line up your ruler with the side on the outside and then slide that over and then bring that line in. So it's going to look like that. Okay, so you're taking this line, you line your straight edge, slide it over till you hit the inside, and where they connect, that's going to be your roof here. So I'm just going to pop that in there real quick. Okay, so that's going to slope in. Now I need to connect over here on the outside. So we have, go in the side here. So find that side and connect those. And we connect on the other side. And so there's our gable forming. Okay, so things are happening here. Now here it's going to come across the front. So, and this is going back behind, right here behind the house. So this needs to go to the right side vanishing point again. So line those up. And it's going to be kind of a it should be almost a straight line on the back of the house. In fact, because it's right on that horizon. So bring that right back there. And then at the front of the house, it's also going to be the horizon, which is kind of actually super nice. So it's going to come across to the pop out, other side of the pop out to the corner. Okay, so it's coming across, comes across. This is going to extend down to the horizon line. Okay. And then that's going to come back to the vanishing point on the left, which is still on your horizon. So it kind of makes things a little easier for you to do that, hopefully. So there. And then back behind the house again on the other side. Okay. So that's going behind, in front. So all of this, we're going to have to take and remove that. We'll do that in just a minute so you can see it all a little better. We still have one roof to do, and that's over the pop-out window. So overhang, overhang, and it's in, now we know where we're at down here. So it's in pretty low, up to the midpoint. And if you want to take from the, look where the middle of your pop-out is, put your straight edge or your ruler on there, and we're going to mark that. We're going to go about, I think with the angle we're at, yeah, we're going to have to go 7/8. That's a tricky one for you. So come back to 7/8 right there. So it's just a little bit above your ridge of the other one, of your main roof. Now we got to bring this forward. So we already know where the edge of our roof is, right here. Not this one, it's down below. Remember, we had to break it for the pop out. We're going to carry that line up, and it's be pretty steep because of our angles, and that's just fine. So then pull this down. So that goes there. And then same thing on the other side. Carry that forward. Okay, and then we have with the back. Now, like we did here, we're going to copy that angle. So then take this angle, slide to where the overhang would be. Let's see, did I get that? Something's not quite. Let's see. It goes there. Sometimes putting things on the horizon is not a good idea because it doesn't let you pop forward. And I forgot the pop forward. Yep, I did. Yeah, we need a little bit of a line here. Let me just back you up just a little bit. So I'm going to take that out because I forgot one little thing. Well, that's a good spot. I messed it up. I need to go back here, which is the corner where the two roofs hit. I forgot to go from here forward. So that is let's see, the vanishing point here. And it really is super tiny because you are right on that edge. But I need to pull that forward. And then that goes up. So it's a little bit of a, changes the angle just a little bit. If you didn't get that part, you'll be fine. It's not going to be super critical. Go at the top, get the ridge, comes back. And now we can take that ridge back here, this overhang. So angle, transfer back to the back, and is that right? Nope. Sorry, it's going to have to be this one. This edge of the roof goes back to here. So we have that valley in the right angle. So there it goes like that. Okay, so there they are. It's a little confusing. Maybe watch this, rewind to go back a couple times so you get that formed out right. We now need to detail it up a little bit. It is getting pretty messy in here. So we're going to clean up some lines in just a second here for you. I need to put in so I can see the underside of that roof, which is the soffit, before I start cleaning up. So I'm going to start here on the garage side. I'm going to match the angle of the outside roof line, slide that down to where the roof goes behind and hits the wall, and then bring that line up. So now you can see underneath. And so here, as we clean up, right inside there won't be any walls. That will disappear. So it looks like that. Then we come across over here. Same thing's going to happen here. We're going to match this angle, slide over to where it hits the wall, and that's going to go there. And so now we can clean out the walls that are inside there. Okay, and we'll darken those up a little bit more for you. Lots of darkening. I got to tell you, this has been kind of an enjoyable little exercise, going back in and doing all this again. This comes forward, we'll see that little, and we're going to fix this with the trim board here in just a minute. We're then now flip sides and do the same thing in the back. Slide that over where it hits the wall, and this slides up, or draws up. So we see the underside of that roof, and we clean out the walls in between, okay? Now I'm gonna go through, and we got this line here. I'm gonna clean up what's in our roof here, so right in this section. And I'm not gonna erase completely, just lightening the walls. Just lightening the lines, because I still want record of them, but I'm just gonna line it up just a little bit. And if your paper's got tears, it's not a big deal. You're gonna be tracing this off again in a minute. Okay, so there's our roof line happening. I have to decide what I'm gonna do with this part. So typically, I'm gonna take and extend this corner up to the roof, and then this wall here, this line for the wall, the ceiling, is then go out, okay? Same with this will go out as well, because we're probably gonna do siding or stucco. Depends on how you want to color this. Might end up being stucco. Okay, so we do that. So everything's kind of cleaned up a little bit better. So it's not quite so crazy. Now I need to put on what's called the fascia. And the fascia is the part of the roof where you would attach your rain gutters. And so they're just, again, they come along, and we'll do the bottom first. They're anywhere from 2 inches to 12 inches. So I'm just gonna bring that line there, follow the angle, and that's trim over the other side. And I'm just eyeballing this just to get those in there. And I think I just bumped the camera. So now we're gonna come here, follow the angle, drop that down. And it's gonna hang down just a little bit behind. So there's that little trim board. You know, you might have to get a good eraser in there as we color that through. And then it's gonna come forward, line that up. So this is doing some little detailing now. Comes forward. I'll add a little bit, and smooth kind of tight here on this one because it's such a small roof line. Comes down, drops across. Again, back to we're kind of almost, but we want to use vanishing points whenever we do. So check your vanishing point lines. This is going to go back behind. That's going to come forward. So when we get back away from that horizon line, things get a little nicer. They're not quite so crazy, even though crazy is kind of fun. Trim comes up. It's probably going to be a little vertical there. but you can just, it's small enough, you can probably just eyeball that in. And then a little bit of trim on the far side of the garage on there. And yeah, now we're ready to start adding color. And so this area for the bush, if you haven't drawn a bush, we'll come back and do the next step here is to create things, but we'll do that for step 8, some more landscape things, and we'll go from there.